it's come to that time of day when your little ones are probably getting a bit sleepy. And so we've got something for bedtime just now.
The next part of our celebration is storytelling. And I think this is my favorite part. It doesn't matter what part of the world you come from, Africa, the Caribbean, Asia, or Europe, we all have stories from our childhood that we remember to this very day. So here we have two storytellers. Enjoy.
Hi, this is the Black History Month, and I'm here to exhibit me. I am Joan, and I'm the lady who reads for kids from Reading with Joan. Me and my little two, they're little, they're not little together. Massive two little girls. We read together. I know in this recording you will see them at one point or the other, but all we do is to come together to read with kids. By the way, do you like my clothes? Oh, let me tell you about my clothes. This is called gele. Say gele. It is from the southern part of Nigeria. So we wear gele when we are going on a party. And you see me, I'll be flashy and beautiful. That's why I'm beautiful. Try it one day. I can borrow you one. So if you want to enjoy Black History Month with me, come over and I'll give it to you. So what we do in Reading with Joe, back to Reading with Joe, we read books for kids, and you can see we concentrate more than ever on books that are dear to our hearts, books that are related to where we come from in Africa. And we also try to share other books. I'm not selfish. We've read Scottish books on our programs, haven't we? Yes, we have. But we enjoy reading with kids. Not only do we read with kids, we help them to develop their creative ideas, to draw, to paint, to sing. Some of my kids have composed poems and sung, and it's so amazing just because we gather together and we read and we explore books. I believe that it's important that kids get the kind of books that they are dear to their heart, and they can enjoy their sense of imagination by reading. Once again, it's Black History Month, and once again, we encourage our kids to read books that identify with them at Reading with Joan. I hope sometimes you join us and enjoy this Black History Month. See you. Bye bye.
Hi everyone, it's Big J here. Today we're going to be singing a song from Ghana in the Twi language. The song is about your head, your shoulders, your knees and your toes. Does that sound familiar? Because it does to me. But before we start singing, we need to know how to say the words in this language. So first of all, we have how to say your head. Your head is mati. Right, okay. Second is your shoulders. Mabati. Okay. Third is your knee. Mekotodwe. And last of all are your feet or your toes, which is mananso. Okay, are we ready to start singing? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Meti, mebeti, mekotodwe mananso meti, mebeti, mekotodwe mananso meti, mebeti, mekotodwe mananso menya, manye mekedao. Meti, mebeti, mekotodwe mananso meti, mebeti, mekotodwe mananso meti, mebeti, Mekoto menanso menya manye mekedao. Well done! I hope you sang along. Right, now we're going to go and read. Bye!
Hi, I'm Little J.
And I'm Big J. And we're going to ask each other questions, and we're going to answer questions about why we're proud to be Africans. So, Little J, are you going to start?
Yes, I like being an African because it makes me happy.
I like Africa because Africa is precious to my heart, and they also have a lot of things like diamonds and like precious metals
And
ores.
gold.
Yes, things like that. Africa is also diverse. Think of South Africa, the Rainbow Nation, as I like to call it. You see so many sorts of people there, people of different ethnicities. You see white people, you see black people, you see Asians, you see people from other parts of the world. And that's one reason that I like Africa. What else do you like, Jed?
I like Africa because of the green.
Because of the green.
Like in Mandaland, it is all green.
Yes.
I like Africa because you get nice food like soup, and you get locust beans, which are normally called iru in Africa. So, yeah, I like it.
I like Africa because of the dressing and the clothes. The clothes colors are very vibrant and they're very showy and they look beautiful anyway. Not just showing off, they look amazing. What else do you like?
I like Africa's dressing because I like Gaelic because you get to wear something on your head which can be any colour, and then you wear a dress or a shirt that matches the thing on your hair.
Oh, that's nice. I also like the way we respect each other in Africa. Because in Africa, greetings and respect is a key part in Africa. You always, always, always greet people in Africa, whether they're your family or sometimes when you've never met them before, just to be nice and say hello. I like the stories of Africa because they're all very different. Some stories are from Morocco, some stories are from the Mendaland, and some stories are from other parts of the world. In Africa, not just anywhere else. I also like them because all the countries of Africa have something very distinctive. Some countries have markets, some countries have skyscrapers that reach high, 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 and some countries are just cool because of their names. And I like each country of Africa, and I like the stories about them too. I also like all the different countries of Africa. I've talked a bit about that in the stories, but I'd also like to say a little bit more just about them on their own. There are a few regions in Africa. There is North Africa, there's East Africa, West Africa, South Africa, and Central Africa. And those are 5. All of those regions have something different about them. And the things that are different do not make them completely different places, because they all belong to one continent, Africa. So they also have similarities. One region I'd like to talk about is West Africa. West Africa I find to be colorful. I find it to be just amazing. I'm not saying I don't find the other regions to be like that, but I love West Africa because that's my motherland. West Africa has countries like Nigeria, Ghana, Benin, Togo, and a lot of them are on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean.
I hope you come and visit us, Africa, as we celebrate the Black History Month. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Today's story is from somewhere in Africa. You can see Africa here, and it's in the west of Africa, around the space I'm touching, and it's called Nigeria. And it's from the southern part of Nigeria, I suppose, and it is written by Nadi Okafor, and it has won her African Children Book Award. So it's called chicken in the kitchen. Chicken in the kitchen. Chicken, 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 chicken. Okay, no, I'll say it well. Chicken in the kitchen. So I want you to enjoy reading with me today as I balance my seat and you also balance your seat and you get ready and let's read. Hey, birds, are you ready to read with us today? Yeah, they said so. Let's get on reading. So, oh, I see the image of the big chicken. Wow. So kids, let's read together. When I was growing up, I used to have a chicken farm. And I loved chickens. And I loved to chase after them and chase them into the cage. I even got a wound out of it one time. And I think that's why I'm attracted to this book that has something to do with chickens. It was very late at night. A noise had woken Anyago. She climbed out of bed and crept quietly towards the kitchen. Can you see the picture of Anyago? Wow, look at her. She's looking at the chicken. What is the chicken doing in the kitchen at night? That's frightening. Oh my! Anyago whispered. What was she going to do? There is a giant chicken in the kitchen. It was going to spoil the food her mom and auntie had cooked for the new yam festival the next day. She had to do something. Buck, buck, pick, cook, said the chicken happily. The new yam festival marked the beginning of the harvest season. It was a time to be thankful, dancing, seeing friends and family, and of course eating lots of yams. Anyago couldn't let the chicken ruin the yam dish in the fridge. Really? She couldn't do that. Kids, do you know what a New Yam Festival is? A New Yam Festival is similar to a Thanksgiving, or is similar to the Harvest Festival we have here. And you take food stuff to school, or you take it to homeless people, or you help those that don't have to eat. Back home in Africa, we have New Yam Festival at the beginning of the harvest period. And it marks the beginning of, wow, big things to come, harvest and things like that. What is wrong with you? Anyago wondered. The chicken was causing a lot of mischief. Anyago wished she knew where her friend, the wood wheat, was. He was a nature spirit. He would know what to do. Anyago tried to muster up some courage. I'm going to just tell you to leave right now. I added right now. Or maybe not. It was time to get help from the wood wheat. Where is it? Anyago wondered. The wood wheat would travel through anything made of wood. It could be almost anywhere. Maybe it was playing outside in the coconut tree or so. If so, she would never be able to find it. Are you in here? Anyago asked. She went into the toilet with a little cat following her everywhere. There you are, Anyago said. There you are, the wood wheat said. It laughed. You have a chicken in your kitchen and you want to get rid of it? How do you know? I know everything the wood knows, the wood wheat said. Anyago didn't understand what the wood wheat meant, but that didn't matter. The wood wheat was always saying odd things like that. Will you help me? Sure, I love being helpful. It looks quite annoyed, the wood wheat said. Whatever have you done to it? I didn't do anything, Anyago insisted. How can I make it leave? Asked it. the woodwitch said. But ask it in chickenism. I don't understand chickenism. Anyangu cried Anyangu. Say buck, buck, buck. The woodwitch suggested, but you have to say it just right. It busted out laughing, amused by itself. Can you see it smiling? Anyangu lifted her chin, clenched her fist, and hello, she said. The chicken flashed the sunniest, shiniest, sweetest smile Anyangu had ever seen. Then the woodwitch began to hum. It sounded like 3 voices and a soft drum bell. It was with the sound of a drum beat that Anyangu understood. How had she not guessed it? This was more than a chicken. Buck, buck, it said softly. It was asking her to dance. Later that night, when Anyangu family finally went to bed, she smiled to herself. Her father had told her about powerful masquerade spirit that come to participate in the New Yam festival. Masquerade visited the villages during festivals, ceremonies, and events. Some were spirits of the elements, like the land and the water. Others were ancestors returning to dance, showing that death was a natural part of life. This one must have come for a midnight snack. Really? Wow. Look at the pictures of the festival masquerades. Wow, kids. At the New Yam festival the next day, Anyangu ate several yam dish and saw some of the biggest yam she had ever seen. But though she watched many powerful masquerade perform, she did not see the chicken masquerade among them until the end. Until the end. Where did the chicken masquerade go? It must have gone away forever. Interesting book. Interesting book. The book is talking about the New Yam festival and the chicken masquerade. So she actually saved the food that day by sending away the chicken masquerade because they were able to have the real festival. So if Anyangu was not able to send away the masquerade, maybe they wouldn't have had a very good festival. Anyangu is very wise, you know. Sometimes we need to send away the wrong people and the wrong things and the wrong kind of people away from us so that we can enjoy exactly what we were meant to be, like enjoying the festival. Kids, I learned a very important lesson. I like African stories because they teach you real life lessons. I hope you enjoyed my reading as I did. I just enjoy seeing the chicken I love raising up when I was a kid. And until next time when I come again, reading another book on Reading with Joan, I hope you have a wonderful Yam festival. No. School festival. No. You have a wonderful time. See you next time. Bye.
Now, my reason for this next story is because of Beyonce. Let me explain. Of course, recently she released Black is King, and I was following with interest a lot of the conversations that happened afterwards. People were celebrating the beauty and the diversity of African cultures, and others, well, they were a bit concerned about the Wakandification of Africa. And so I began to think of a lot of ideas of identity and belonging and actually where is home? Because we're all on this in different ways, different journeys. There are some of us who are deeply rooted in our cultural heritage. There are those of us who, despite living on the continent, perhaps we are less familiar with our indigenous language. Perhaps we no longer understand the traditions and customs of the Relas when we visit them in the village. There are those of us in the diaspora who are trying to share some kind of part of our cultural heritage with our children, and they are growing up with their own influences. And then there are those of us who were ripped away from the African continent and have no idea of our ancestral roots. And therefore, we have no option but to place new ones into the ground. But wherever we are, there is something that is much, much deeper than we could possibly understand that binds us and that unites us, whether that is in the past, whether that is in the present, but certainly for me, definitely, it's something that will bind us in the future. So this is my story for you. It's a story about a chief. And this chief had a beautiful daughter. And this is where I will ask you to use your imagination, your own personal definition of beauty. If you could imagine this young woman, maybe you can see the sparkle in her eyes. Maybe her smile is the largest in the world. Maybe she was sharp with her words whenever she flung them out. Perhaps it was the way she moved, the way she shimmied and shook. Perhaps it was how silent she was when she observed the world. Perhaps she was hardworking. Whatever your definition of beauty, she had it. But she had something else. You see, she was a giver of joy. Wherever she went in the community, everybody who saw her loved her. Because if she saw somebody who was in pain, she would gift them a story and she would soothe their souls. If she saw somebody who was down or upset, she would gift them a story and she would raise their spirits. They loved her. However, there is an invisible line that separates the world of the humans from the world of darkness. And across that line, there was a shadow who was watching her. The more he watched, the more he desired her. He longed to own her, to possess her, to have her all to himself. But he knew that he could not simply step over into the world of the humans. No! So he came up with a plan. He would first of all visit the land of the recently deceased. And when he found himself there, he looked around and he saw a carpenter. He admired those long, elegant fingers. Nipe vidole vyako natamani mwanamke, nipe vidole vyako. Give me your fingers, he asked. And he received them, and he attached them to his form. He carried on through the world, and he came across somebody with magnificent shoulders. Nipe mabega yako natamani mwanamke, nipe mabega yako. He took those shoulders and attached them to his form. He carried on and found somebody's magnificent legs, somebody's rippling, gleaming stomach. He found a hard, strong back, tight buttocks. He found a beautiful face, magnificent hair. Nipe pua yako, nipe mdomo yako, nipe tumbo yako, nipe skio yako, nipe. He took everything that he needed, even a tongue that spoke several languages. He took a voice, a rich, deep voice that would place anybody under a spell. You know the kind of voice I mean. He took all of those things, and when he was ready, he adorned himself in clothes stitched together with gold and silver thread, and then he stepped across the line. When they saw him, The people could not believe their eyes. He was perfect. He danced like a god. He walked like a king. He was incredible, beautiful, astonishing, intelligent. He attracted everyone around him like a magnet, and even the giver of joy. She could not help but be overwhelmed by his magnificence. But it is hard to keep your true self hidden for an extended period of time. And there was something about him that did not seem right to her, and so she began to keep her distance. But the shadow, he would not give up. He would not simply walk away. When she refused to go with him, he took her. He threw her over his shoulder and he marched towards the invisible line. He stepped across and he threw her to the ground, and she tried to escape, but there was no way back. They marched through the land of the recently deceased, and he returned every piece after piece after piece, until there was nothing more than a shadow left. They walked over to his home, and he flung her into a corner and he said, "This is where you will be from now on." And she trembled and she shook and she cowered, and she peeked out and she looked around her new home. But she saw that she was not alone. Everywhere, in all the little homes, she saw people just like herself, stolen from their home and brought to this new one. And when they discovered that she was a giver of joy, they would huddle together in secret, and she would share her stories, and in return, they taught her how to survive. She survived in many ways. She survived by doing exactly what she was told to do whenever she was told to do it. She survived by remaining silent when he disrobed her, because he owned her and could do whatever he wanted. She gave birth to the shadow's children, sons and daughters that she did not want, but when she looked down on them, she could not help but love. The years began to pass, and one day she left her children at home and she went over to the river to collect water. But just as she was about to plunge her pot to fetch the water, suddenly the water began to churn and swirl and foam, and out of the depths there rose an old woman, a hideous creature. Her back and shoulders were hunched. Her skin was ashen. The hair on her head fell in thin grey clumps. And the young woman, the daughter of the chief, well, she was horrified. She was about to turn and flee when suddenly she noticed that there was something familiar about the woman. And as she looked deeper, "You do not belong here. You must leave, or you will die here like me. You do not belong." And as suddenly as the old woman had spoken and arrived, she descended back into the depths, and the young woman was horrified. She raced back to her home, and as soon as she laid eyes on her children, the words of the old woman returned. She knew that the woman was right. She did not belong here. Her children did not belong in this awful place. And so she took her children and she strapped them tightly to her body. She slipped out of the door and she started to run. She headed towards the invisible line, faster and faster and faster. But the spirit, the shadow, noticed that she had gone. He looked around and he saw her tearing away in the horizon, and he was furious. He raced after her. The audacity! After everything that he had done for her, he raced as fast as he could, and he grabbed hold of her, dragged her back to the house. He flung her to the ground, threw her a spinning wheel and said, "Spin your hair into gold." And when she refused, he beat her until her blood flowed into the ground. Her children were watching. She had no choice. She sat by the spinning wheel. But her children were watching, and they saw her joy beginning to fade, and they tried to remind her who she was. Mama? Mama? Can you tell us a story, Mama? And as she spun the gold, she began to spin her stories. She told them stories of the little spirits that visited babies and made them giggle and laugh. She told them stories of mighty warriors and children. She took her sword and she raced across the plains. She raised her sword high and she slashed and she slayed. And the children looked up at her, their eyes wide with wonder. She saw the joy in their faces, and she remembered the words of the old woman. She did not belong there. She needed to leave, and she could never leave her children behind. So she waited until the shadow had gone to sleep. She took her children by the hand, and she slipped out of the door. She started to run faster and faster and faster and faster, but the shadow, he noticed that the house was cold. The warmth had gone, and he opened his eyes and saw the door ajar and knew that she had left. He was outraged. He flew after her. He enlisted the help of his friends, and together they raced through the world of darkness. They saw her getting closer and closer to the invisible line, and she was almost there. So close, so close. She pulled her children behind her, closer and closer, but they were just behind her, faster and faster. They fell on her just as she had reached the line. They threw her to the ground and pinned her. They crushed her. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't. But they refused to hear her. They refused to see her eyes close. They refused to feel her body soften. And as she fell to the ground and her light began to fade, she heard a tiny voice. Mama, Mama. And she took her sword and she rode across the plains, and she raised it high into the sky, and she slashed and she slayed. Mama, Mama. And she opened her eyes, and she saw her children, and she saw that they too were givers of joy, and their joy gave her strength, and she stood up, and she flung the shadows off her. She seized her children by the hand, and she marched across the invisible line back into her own world. But it had changed. She had been away for such a long time that nobody recognized her anymore. Nobody recognized her children. And she realized in that awful moment that she belonged nowhere. And in desperation, she turned around to see the land that she had just left, and she saw thousands of people trapped in darkness, unable to get out. She felt a knot in the pit of her stomach, and it grew larger and larger. A great fire burst upwards into her chest, filling her throat, and she raged. and her rage and her power and her light. It spilled out and it smashed the line that separated the two worlds. And as it all came shattering down, she saw everything that she had helped to build and create. And she realized that she belonged everywhere. So she took her children by the hand and she marched through the world of darkness. And she knew who she was. She was a giver of joy. And so everywhere she went, if she saw somebody who was in pain, she would gift them a story and soothe their souls. If she saw somebody who was low or upset, she would gift them a story and raise their spirits. And for years and years, the people would speak about her, how there was once a woman and she was a giver of joy.
So, what do you guys think of when you think of soul and soul music? What's your connotations of it?
Raw emotion, heartfelt lyrics, and so it's like truth in melody, you know? That's what soul music is like. It feels like home, like comfort music. You know, we talk about comfort food, and soul just soothes my soul. You know, I think that's what it's meant to. That's why, maybe that's why it's called soul music. It's just so soothing. It's just it it's it feels like home.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how I can add to that, because that's it's exactly that. I think what makes it unique is that you can hear the struggles of Black people in the voices. Even if it's a happy, beautiful song, there's so much depth to the voice. You can hear the gospel in there. You can hear the blues in there. You can hear the jazz in there. It's beautiful.
As we were saying, it's the next step from rhythm and blues and jazz and all that thing. And it's kind of like the struggle's still there, but there's positive and there is light at the end of it. And even when it comes to love songs, it's like, it's that little idea. I think of me as a child, and I listened to soul love songs from my mum and dad. It was like you had that glamorous image of Black love, which we didn't really have. And it was like a love that was much deeper than how you've seen it on other TV shows and films. And even in white love songs, there was more power and more soul within that and more vim.
And we went global at that point with Motown Records, Tamla, you know, all that stuff. Philly Soul, I think it's called. And we went global. You know, the whole world was listening to soul music in the 60s, and that's, you know, just gave us so much more reach and, you know, the ability to share our culture worldwide. So when you look at it like that, it's quite amazing. So who are our favorite soul artists? What about you, Benita?
So mine at the moment is very current, and it's a very new age soul. So I am obsessed with Miss Eagle, and everything he just touches is gold. It's pure gold. He can just do anything with a piano, a saxophone, a synthesizer, anything he's got, he has it. And I grew up with Lionel Richie and those kinds of artists, and my mum pretty much pumped Lionel Richie onto us like that's our third language. And we pretty much, like, even to this day, like, we'll sit in my mum's car when we're driving places and she has a CD like on repeat, and like I've noticed my son starts singing Lionel Richie songs, and we're all very much in on it like a religion.
Yeah, I must say he's fantastic live, but he does continue to haunt me, Lionel Richie, because with my name being Naledi, people say, oh, once, twice, three times, Naledi. It drives me. That's happened to me a few times. I'm like, really?
Maybe that's your soul tie.
What about you? Who's your favorites?
Well, you know, there's so many. All-time favorite is Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder. My favorite tune, Love's in Need of Love Today. There's nothing that could be better than that song. That song is everything to me. There's Stevie Wonder. I love Patti LaBelle. I love all those notes she reaches for. And, if we go back a bit in time, I love Al Green. But at around that time, my favorite, I think, is Otis Redding.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love me some Patty. Patty will give you a new attitude.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So I absolutely love Sam Cooke. Always have loved Sam Cooke. Just grew up hearing that in the house. And that's more for the sort of the songs, the stories,
Yeah.
and what
This is a
as well.
this is a random fact, but Sam Cooke died very young, and so did Otis Redding. Otis Redding died in a helicopter crash. He was only 29, I think, 27 or 29, something like that. And Sam Cooke died before he was 30, right?
He was 27, I think. Yeah. And not
A lot of the greatest musicians died before they're 30, because even Biggie and Tupac, they died, I think it was under, I think they're 28 at the time.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, I think Sam Cooke's has still been a mystery for many years. But yeah, Sam Cooke for the storytelling side of things and for the vocals, of course. But nobody tops it for me on vocals than Donny Hathaway. Donny Hathaway is like, mwah, like his voice is like butter. It's just so beautiful. And then he's now, his daughter, Lala Hathaway, is just incredible as well. She's got her dad's genes, she's got his. Sure. We're starting off the soul music section of today with Dope Sick Fly and a song called We Are One. You're going to hear a little bit of Gaelic singing in there as well. Okay, and I love the message of that song.
Scotland's answer to James Brown, Otis Redding, Al Green, all of them put together right here in Scotland. Bourbon 5. I know you're going to enjoy this smooth, sultry voice.
and finally, we have our very own Janet Botha, and she is a beautiful singer-songwriter, and she's about to take you to church, so enjoy.
For once, we are strong, we are beautiful, when we are one, for crying out loud. Be strong, we are beautiful, when we are one, yeah. Oh yeah, we are one. I stand below the heavens just to feel the weather, laying on my back now. I will never back down. Why try not to care? Stand and see what's there. Principles intact. Can you picture that? For once, we are strong. We are beautiful when we are one, for crying out loud. Be strong. We are beautiful when we are one. For once, we are strong. We are beautiful when we are one, for crying out loud. Be strong. We are beautiful when we are one. Call on me, baby, when the weather gets colder. Call on yourself because it never gets old. Not like that. Call on me, baby, when the weather gets colder. Call on yourself because it never gets old. Not like that. Call on me, baby, when the weather gets cold. Call on yourself because it never gets old. Not like that. This ain't the last time. You've been running through my mind. Replay all the time. Memories divine. The way you see your kind. For once, we are strong. We are beautiful. When we are one, for crying out loud. Be strong. We are beautiful when we are one. For once, we are strong. We are beautiful when we are one. For crying out loud, be strong. We are beautiful when we are one.
Hasn't been easy. Life's thrown hasn't been easy. Life can get so hard sometimes, but I'm proud of who we've become. Just hold on, my dear. The dawn's bound to come. You've come this far, stronger than you think. Just hold on, my dear. If it's too hard, just know I'll be here, holding you firm and waiting to see you soar like the eagle you are. Like the eagle you are, you will soar. I know it hasn't been easy. Life can get so hard sometimes, but I'm proud of who you've become. I know it hasn't been easy. It's never been easy, but you've done so well. You've done so well. Just hold on, my dear. The dawn's bound to come. You've come this far, stronger than you think. Just hold on, my dear. If it's too hard, just hold my hand. We can conquer this. Hold on, my dear. If it's too hard, just know I'll be here, holding you firm and waiting to see you soar like the eagle you are. Like the eagle you are, you will soar. Don't let the darkness bring you down. Stand tall, strong and firm, chin up. Let your light shine brighter and brighter. Don't let the darkness bring you down. Stand tall and strong and firm, chin up. Let your light shine brighter and brighter. Don't let the darkness bring you down. Stand tall and strong and firm, chin up. Let your light shine brighter and brighter. Let your light shine brighter, brighter and brighter, brighter. Hold on, my dear. The dawn's bound to come. You've come this far, stronger than you think. Just hold on, my dear. If it's too hard, just know I'll be here, holding you firm and waiting to see you soar. Hold on, my dear. If it's too hard, just know I'll be here. We can conquer this if we do it together.
And next up, we have East African and Glasgow's very own Etienne Kubwabo, who made us the Beats of War comic, which features a black superhero. Yeah, that's what they're called, a black superhero. In a year that we lost Chadwick Boseman, this comic is needed more than ever, and I'm so glad he had the chance to bring this out this year.
Hi everybody, I'm here from the African Caribbean Society for Scotland, and today we are doing one of our Black History Month interviews with Etienne.
My name is Etienne Kubwabo. I'm a filmmaker and writer.
Perfect. So Etienne has done a brilliant comic called Beats of War based in Glasgow, and today we'll be asking him some questions just to kind of find out what he does, who he is, and what he's doing for the black community in Scotland. So, quickly, where are you from and what is your racial background?
I'm originally from Democratic Republic of Congo, and then Scottish and black Scottish. Yes.
How long have you been in the UK, and when did you first come to Scotland?
I first came to Scotland in 2019, so that's about 2009. Sorry, so that's about 9 years, almost 10 years in December.
Nice. And how have you found it being here?
Well, Scotland is cold. It's always raining, but still love it because the people, it's the vibe that comes with the city. The people, they make you fall in love with the place. So, except the weather, I really love the place.
Perfect. And can you sum up your experiences as a black Scottish person?
In one word, you mean?
You can summarize it if you want.
Exciting, maybe I can say, because obviously being in Scotland, I came here when I was a teenager, and I can say that I've had some experiences living here, both positive and negative, and they've made me who I am, and it's really exciting. It's an exciting journey, so I'm excited about it.
So, Etienne, what is your work background and how did you get into this industry?
I'm a filmmaker and a writer, but I'm also like a DJ for fun. That's why you see my comic book is linked to music. So mainly the career is more like filmmaking and writing.
When I was on the looking online, actually, I seen that there's a song linked to the character.
Yes.
On YouTube, and there's a YouTube song. So is that where the music side comes in?
Yes, I felt like creating this superhero, I always wanted the whole idea of bringing people together, because I've been in a lot of festivals and a lot of music shows, and I've noticed how music brings people together. So I wanted to create a character that is sort of linked to music in a way that if he's not fighting crime or trying to fix what's wrong with society, he's connecting humans through music. Yeah.
That sounds good. What inspired the story?
I mean, inspiration, more like my life experiences living in Scotland. I mean, I've been making films for like maybe 7 years now. And 2 years ago, I worked on a feature film, 19 Willow Place, which is almost going to come out. And there's a lot of things, some challenges I went through living in Scotland. They were both good and bad. So I was like, how can I tell stories of these experiences without kind of not leaving some bits out? And then one time was like 3 o'clock in the morning. I was like, you know what? I could just do a comic book. And it could be a DJ who comes on Earth from another planet and finds music, but his planet does not have music. And then he fights what's wrong with the world, but also seeks answers to help solve his planet. So the planet where he comes from represents where we come from as immigrants who come to this country and other parts of the world. And then the playground of the story is Scotland. So these experiences that I could not express visually in film because of budgets, I said I can do that in comics. It's pretty, affordable to do that. So I wanted to, go as crazy, as wild. When you're a child and you've got these visions and ideas that you want to do, sometimes you're limited. So I felt like through comic books, it will be the best way for me to actually, tackle these experiences.
That sounds really good. It's a very good story, and one thing that I like is that it's a black superhero. Yeah. And it kind of gives me, especially in these times when we've lost Chadwick, how does it kind of resonate with you?
To be honest with you, Chadwick inspired me to do this superhero. I went to watch Black Panther, and when I came out of the cinema, I'm like, yo, I seen people wearing kitenge, people drumming. I felt that energy from Africa. I'm like, I think sometimes you travel and move to another country and you start losing who you are and knowing where you come from as a black person. Even other characters, but mainly that was my focus when I watched the movie. This guy inspired me, man. Like, I got out, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I don't care how crazy this sounds. And then that's when I started teaming up, getting people together to create a small team where, this came to life. And then when I went for a coffee with these guys who are involved, I was like, yo, don't think I'm crazy. I just want to tell a story in my own way, and I hope you guys can be on board. And everybody was excited, and then that's how it came to life.
Yeah, and you've done so well, because look, you're on the back of a billboard, and there's so much more things to come. Will there be a sequel?
Well, a sequel is coming next year.
Yay, so look out for that, guys. Issue 2?
Issue 2 is coming.
Issue 2 is coming. Why is black representation in mainstream media important to you?
I mean, like, we grow up looking at other superheroes. I'll talk for myself, but I'm sure people who are watching this will also relate to this. I'll talk about a few superheroes like Tarzan. Tarzan, a superhero who is white Caucasian living in African jungle, speaking to gorillas, but people who are original inhabitants of this place were not speaking to these gorillas. And then I've seen Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. All these superheroes don't look like me, you know. So when they released Black Panther, it gave me it made me feel so important as well to be seen, to be represented as a black man. And hence that's why I said, look, we just have Black Panther, who's the biggest character. Who else can you mention? Other characters who are like in other universes, they are like kind of like in the back, they are not like represented forward. So I wanted to create a superhero that I was excited about, that I had a connection to. You know, if you read my comic book, all the characters, how they look like, they are facial representations of people I actually know. It's not like random images. So I wanted to create a story that I was really connected to, and also put ourselves as black people in the forefront. You know, with less limitation on creativity. You know, if you start working with a company and you want to create a superhero, they start telling you, take this out, take this out. But because I was fully involved in the writing and the creation of the character, I had to stick to my own story. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting. I love the idea. If you could tell your childhood self one thing about identity and having to gain that sense of self in a world that has no representation, what would it be?
It would be free, just do it. Just whatever ideas you've got inside that it makes you feel proud to be who you are, just do it.
So throughout the month, we have been celebrating Black History Month, and I wanted to ask you what it meant to you.
For me, Black History Month means representation, you know, showing our culture, where we come from, and also telling our stories.
Yeah. What does being black mean to you as a person?
Being black it's a privilege. It's a blessing for me, for being black, you know, and I'm super proud to be who I am, and I embrace it through my characters and storytelling, you know, try and change the world to be a better place.
Yeah, good. How do you celebrate Black History Month?
Mostly, I do a few things like to attend different events if things are open, but due to coronavirus, I don't think there's much that's going to be happening. But I'm involved in a few workshops through Zoom, and I'll be talking to different groups that are, you know, involved in organizing these events. So that's what I'm going to be doing this year.
Nice. And after the events that have taken place in 2020, has your perception of what it means to be black changed, either positive or negative?
I mean, it's changing. I mean, you've seen the events that have taken place this year, and I think that's kind of like exaggerated the whole process of what needs to change. I wouldn't say that things have changed, but I feel like we're in the process for the change. It will take some time, but we will get there. Yeah.
And do you feel like the positive changes are coming?
I can feel them. I can feel them. I mean, look at Scotland's first black superhero. The comic book is here. People are speaking up. There's different events happening. There's a lot of people who are doing a lot of films and, you know, writing books. There's different ways. And then the media, the way, I mean, you've seen the thing on Black British Got Talent where people performed. So there's different ways that I feel like the message is going out there, and I feel like something positive will happen in a few years.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for your time, and thank you for our superhero.
Yeah, so, Scotland's first black superhero.
We've got him here. Thank you, everyone. Say bye.
We're not going anywhere. The next section can be found on YouTube or Facebook, depending on where you're watching, and will be premiered right now.